BB, what's up, man? He says, hey guys, number one, is retargeting cheaper on display network than search network when we know the user searches for money keywords? Is retargeting cheaper in general? Yes, it is. And display network is way cheaper than search ads, number one. And retargeting in Google display network is called remarketing. Retargeting is a Facebook term. In Google, it's remarketing, and that's all I do. So I always call it remarketing. But yeah, it's cheaper than cold ads or cold traffic ads, right? Remarketing is cheaper than cold traffic because it's returning traffic. So the way I look at it is, if you're running display network ads, you pay for the cold click, right? Which is when an ad is being served to somebody that has never engaged or been exposed to the brand before, and then they click the ad. So you pay a higher fee for that cold click. But when they land on the asset that you direct them to from that click, then they get cookied, and then they're on a remarketing list. So now the follow-up ads are cheaper. If they click on it again, it's much, much cheaper. So, but yeah, display network ads are I use them. It's pretty much standard operating procedure for retainer clients. Because we put a remarketing, we use Google Tag Manager and put the remarketing tag on their sites, and anything that we can add the tag to. And then anytime a customer or somebody lands on any one of their digital assets, they get cookied, and then we remarket to them. And it's good for SEO too. I mean, we run cold traffic campaigns because it also helps with click-through rate. Those are CTR, those are great signals. And we talk about manipulating CTR signals all the time using tools and apps like the one that we were developing. But you still can't beat paid traffic because those are known, like from the display network, right? Google's display network, because those are known Google users, like real, verifiable, validated Google users. And so when you're buying traffic directly from Google, you're buying Google users within a set geographic area that are, and depending on how you do your audience targeting, you can set up, what they call in-market audiences or life event audience, or they call custom segments. Which you can develop your own kind of bucket of customers that have that are likely in the market for the products or services that you're promoting. So all of those clicks that you can buy with cold traffic display network ads actually help SEO. And I know people have said for years that Google's claimed that when you advertise on Google, it does not help search SEO, right? But that's bullshit. And I've proven that over and over in the mastermind. I've done case studies on that, where in just a matter of days, you can see results if you use Google display network ads for click-through rate. And it's not really manipulation at that point. You can't, what's interesting too, by the way, and I know it's a little bit of an aside, but we see this over and over again. And if any of you guys are in any of the click-through rate tools or apps, Facebook groups, I'm sure that many of you have probably asked the same damn question yourself. Like, how many searching clicks should I do? Right? That question comes up countless times every week. And whenever you're manipulating those signals using a tool or an app, you have to set the volume, right? The number of searches and clicks and all of that. And so that question comes up over and over and over again. How many searches and clicks should I send to my app, for how many keywords and how many clicks and all that? When you're doing it with Google Ads, you don't have to worry about any of that. You control how many clicks based on your budget, but it doesn't matter if it's way over and above what the searching click volume is, because it's direct clicks, direct traffic to the assets that you point them to. And by the way, you can send cold traffic clicks to the Google Business map URL, or to a Google Business post URL, or to the Google Business website, right? You can send it to a damn search query, right? Like, in other words, and here I can demonstrate this. What's really interesting is, and we'll see if I don't know if Semantic Mastery is still popping a knowledge panel, but you can send traffic to an actual search query page, it's crazy. Those are good signals, because especially if it's a branded search query. Let's see, I wonder if that's going to show. Okay, there we go. So if we take this URL here, guys, now you see how everything on this page is about semantic mastery. Does that make sense? This entire page is about semantic mastery. So you can take this search query URL here. I'm going to manipulate this a little bit. We don't usually do tutorials like this on Hump Day Hangouts, but it's a good question, BB. So I'm going to share some of this with you guys. All right. So you can strip this all the way down to just the search query, which is going to be that right there. Okay. And now that's a search query keyword or URL, I should say, that if we go visit that, okay, it's not popping the knowledge panel. I'd have to play with it a little bit more to get the actual right query, but that's basically everything on this page is branded. Does that make sense? And so this is a really good signal too, because you can send clicks to that URL. Yes, you can buy ads, right? You can set up an ad campaign that send clicks to a google.com search query, right? And so the point is, if you're doing targeting, like these are good signals, because that acts as when somebody clicks on an ad and it causes the browser to load this type of a search query string, that's like a search for the branded name. So that's what you call a navigational search query, right? A branded search. And those are great signals for SEO. In fact, branded searches are more powerful than keyword search and clicks, in my opinion, because it adds what they call site weight, right? It adds weight to the entity, the branded entity, and that makes it stronger. Navigational search queries or branded searches are very, very, very powerful for SEO, because it's telling Google that the brand is popular enough that it's getting search for as the brand name. People are seeking that company out by name, as opposed to just doing a generic keyword search and then happening upon the company. Does that make sense? So these are actually really good signals that you can manipulate with cold traffic clicks from the display network. And those, again, you're buying traffic from Google users, right? So they're verified profiles that from directly from Google. So if you're doing it for local, think about how you can manipulate that with IP clicks that are all within a specific geographic area, right? And if it's from an audience that either what I call a stock audience, like a predefined audience, like an in-market audience, or they call it a segment now, an in-market segment, or a in-life or life event segment, where you can create what they call a custom segment, which you can develop that through keywords and such. But those are known Google users that are likely in the market. For example, the in-market segment is likely in the market for that product or service. And you define that as the audience targeting, as well as the specific geographic areas. And then you send them to a branded search query click like this, where if they're really in the market for that, and the product or service that you're promoting can satisfy their need, then if they land on a branded search query, they're going to, first of all, that's a great signal, just that click period, because it's like a branded search. It's what it mimics a branded search, but then they are likely going to click through to one of these assets, and then boom, that's another click-through signal from Google search. Does that make sense? So it's a very, very powerful strategy, guys. We've seen really good results at improving SEO, but you can manipulate this kind of stuff with like the CT spam tools, as I always called them, click-through spam tools. But I feel like, and from testing that I've done, I haven't done it in about 6 months, but last summer I did a lot of testing on this, and the Google ads was one of the best ways to do it. You get really quick results when you're buying traffic from Google. Okay. It's a great question, baby.